You're watching The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are The Breakfast Club. We have a special guest in the building, Miss Angela Rye.
Hey.
AR-15.
No.
Now, how the hell do you go on vacation? Aren't you supposed to be fighting for us? There are no vacations.
So
Wow.
what do you call what you just did?
You right.
He ain't fighting for us.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
all he's trying to say. That's all he's trying to
But
say.
guess what? We darker though.
No, we not. We said we're a little.
You guys are a little darker.
Thanks.
Just the tits.
Here we go.
Because
She got
left
a nice
me hanging.
little
I was
tan.
trying to give him a compliment.
But I will
because,
say
you
this,
know.
though. Everybody needs to reset their mind at certain
Absolutely.
times.
Yes.
You have to refresh yourself. You cannot work yourself into the ground without taking a little break.
Especially after this election cycle that we've had, and
That's
now
a
this
fact.
new orangey president we got.
So
Yeah.
you
Update
took a
us.
break. You took a break. So impeachment. When does that happen?
Yes.
Oh, God.
So I have to give you the impeachment update, and I'm going to try to set the parameters as best I can.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an investigation happening, is zeroing in on Jared Kushner, who of course is Donald Trump's son-in-law, married to Ivanka Trump, who I call the real FLOTUS. And so Russiagate is getting really real, and it's remarkably getting much closer to Donald Trump. The fundamental question is, was Jared Kushner trying to get a direct connection to Vladimir Putin, and if so, why? And all of this is being uncovered as CNN posted a story Tuesday morning saying that Russian government officials had derogatory information on candidate Trump then and some of his closest top officials and allies and aides. And so they're saying that this information allegedly is related to financial dealings. And Russians were discussing whether they had leverage over y'all's president as a result of said financial dealings and his inner circle. So I think that's highly problematic, and this probably needs to be on the rumor report instead of this because it's unreal.
Yeah,
it really,
this is
really
the most
is.
amazing, fascinating, ridiculous situation I feel like our country has ever. This is crazy.
Well, maybe at least in our lifetimes. I was just gonna say what we should probably all do if we're not familiar with it is look into Watergate, right? Like what you saw with Watergate is that the scandal of the cover-up was worse than the actual scandal.
Roland Martin actually was discussing Watergate and comparing it to this as well.
Okay, so then interestingly enough, reasonable minds think alike. And so, yeah, I think that is absolutely the case. So many of us who weren't born, right, yet during Watergate have to go back and look at what in fact the implications were there and whether or not this could even be worse.
Now, certain people say we don't want Donald Trump impeached just because
That's what Roland Martin just said. He said we should
a lot
wait.
of people, right,
He
Mike
said
Pence.
because we should want the Republicans to have to defend Donald Trump come 2018.
Yeah, and I guess my question would be at what cost, right? Like, at every turn, so he just gets back from this foreign trip, and you have foreign officials saying that this is somebody they don't necessarily want to work with. This is somebody who's not very smart. I don't necessarily want him being our commander-in-chief. And so while I don't want Mike Pence either, here's one of the other things that we should remember. Mike Pence was over the transition team. So, again, going back to the impeachment, it's not just the president who could be impeached. If Mike Pence knows anything, the whole team could be gone.
The whole
Then we
team
would
could be
end
gone.
up
Squad.
We would end
The
up
whole
with
squad gone.
hashtag not squad goals. But one of the things that we could look at is if both of them were impeached, then it would be Speaker Paul Ryan, who's the Speaker of the House, and he would be the next in
How
line.
long can this take?
It can take a long time.
2 years.
Goodness
It can
gracious.
take a
Watergate
long
took
time.
900 plus days.
Yeah, so
For
I
Nixon
mean,
to get impeached.
and part of it is again just unveiling the cover-up. It's getting closer and closer to Donald Trump, and that's I think what you really have to worry about. So people might wonder why they should care about this, right? They're like, I got real problems at home. Why do I care about what's going on with Russia? Like,
Right.
tell me how I'm gonna pay my bills. And I think that the reality of it is, this is the pathway to impeachment. If you know you don't like orangey. I think the second thing is what Congressman Waters said during an event the day before the tax returns rally they did in Washington. She said, we need to stop his ass. So then if that's the case, this is the pathway to doing just that. I think the last piece is, if it's financial in nature, we know we never saw his tax returns. So that's another big issue. We know what we would have to do in that situation. Right. So there shouldn't be a double standard, especially for our leader. I think the final thing is, if we at all care about our democracy and our elections and protecting the sacred nature of those, and I know especially for our communities that's really tough, right? Because we see that we're often at odds with the democracy that seems to fight and work against us, but we have to stop somewhere. And we have to stop it somewhere and say, listen, enough is enough and too much is too much. Russia was involved. There was potential collusion. They definitely interfered with the election. We at least know they crossed that standard. So we should get to the bottom of it.
Now something that's directly affecting the hood. I don't think you've been here since Jeff Sessions turned back the clock on the drug law, so to speak, right?
Yeah, but we talked about it, I think, before they formally announced it.
Okay.
But we can definitely, I think, revisit that. I think the thing that we should know about Jeff Sessions, and actually I think this is a good point to bring up overall, Trump just released his budget and gave that to Congress last week. What you find in that budget is that at every single turn, they're rolling back civil rights. So there's an Equal Employment Opportunities Commission. And they're trying to fold in an office that is responsible for federal contract compliance laws. I know that's real wonky, but the point is, this one office makes sure that there's no discrimination happening with folks who have contracts with the federal government. They want to blend all of that with the Equal Employment Opportunities Commission. They also are putting folks like this Bush-era lawyer up for consideration for DOJ's Office of Civil Rights. They also are trying to they're trying to reduce the size of the Department of Education's Office of Civil Rights, reducing it by 40 staff people, right? And he's appointing people who've had records of fighting on the other side of civil rights, right? Not advancing our causes. So the real issue is, if there's nobody there fighting for us, where are we really going to see this fight? And I think that's part of what you're seeing on the local level. Folks know that we're not as protected as we once were under Obama or anybody else, per se. So now we have this guy who looks like he's fighting against civil rights, so folks are getting emboldened on the ground.
Right. And that's why everybody's saying you have to be involved locally now, because that seems like what is our only hope? You can't just sit back and be mad. You have to do something.
Well, yeah, exactly. But what does that look like? So I know you all have spent a lot of time talking about the issue with the Muslim girls.
Yes.
And the 3 men who were stabbed, 2 who were killed. But there are some other issues. Like there's a guy who was up for a lieutenant in the Army, graduate or about to be a graduate of Bowie State University, Richard Collins III. And he was stabbed to death on the University of Maryland campus. Now, for those of you who don't know, University of Maryland is pretty progressive. So for something like that to happen in the state of Maryland, for something like this to happen in the state of Oregon, and then for a Texas legislator, just the other day, a guy named Matt Rinaldi threatened to call ICE on protesters.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah.
Because they were saying, he said that they had up signs that were saying, I'm illegal and I'm not leaving or something like that. So he said he called ICE on them and was getting people.
And regardless, as a legislator, he should respect, right, the fact that they have freedom of speech. And they absolutely are exercising their right to protest. He also threatened to put a bullet in the head of one of his colleagues who was just trying to protect these folks. So we see it in Texas. We see it in Oregon. We're seeing it in Maryland. This is a big problem, and I think they're emboldened because of what Trump is doing.
Absolutely.
Even in Portland, what
white
happened
supremacy
with the,
begets white supremacy.
With the guy that stabbed and killed the 2 men that was protecting the girls. They're
right.
supposed to be having 2 rallies, alt-right rallies, in the next couple of weeks.
Yes.
And they're asking people to please not do these rallies, but they're saying, no, we have our voice. We still want to speak. That person was not involved with us or anything. But it's bad timing. After something that just happened this weekend, you're going to have a rally that's an alt-right rally after 2 men just got killed.
And that's the whole thing. It's like, how far is too far? If you're emboldening folks and your speech is inciting violence, that's a bridge too far, and that's freedom. That's speech freedom that's not protected by the Constitution.
Now let's go back to black banks. You've been promoting black banks hard, and I see a lot of people putting money into black banks. How is that going as far as lending? Are people able to get loans that they need? Are people able to get funding? Because I know that was a big thing for a lot of people, being able to get money if they need it.
Sure, and I think that it depends on the bank, right? And it depends on their capacity. I have not heard of any real big issue with folks not being able to get loans at these banks. But again, I would just go back to, you might have some of those same issues at larger banks. So you might as well give it a try. I think that the more that we push deposits, the more ability these banks have to lend, right? They have to have those resources from somewhere, and part of that comes into whether or not they have
I'm going to give it another try. I had a little mishap, but I'm going to give it another try. I'm going to call them today and see if we can work it out. They were very nice, very polite.
My black bank, One United, is very accommodating for me. They check on me, and they call me, and they make sure I'm good, and they send me texts.
How much money you put in there?
I put more in there since the
That's
first
a very
time.
personal question.
I'm just asking. I want to make sure he's continuing to do it. I'm continuing to do it.
More in there.
Make sure.
I put more in there
like,
since
did
the
you put
first time.
$5 in there? How much did you
No, I got a lot more than $5 in there. I got
Do
enough
they
in there.
have
I got enough in
numbers
there for me to
show
care.
After this whole initiative started?
Yes.
So what has been the increase of people that have opened up?
So they told us that since last June, there have been an increase of 65,000 accounts open, which
That's
is
great.
fantastic. And that we cannot take credit for that. Killer Mike.
Killer
Shout out
Mike.
to Killer Mike.
Absolutely.
Killer Mike. It was his wife's birthday, too.
And
Happy
Solange.
birthday.
Solange
Yes,
had a
and
lot to do with it.
Solange, yeah.
Well,
So
we have a lot of people on the phone lines that want to talk to.
Oh.
You know, last time they called and we couldn't get the phone lines working.
Hold on, I just want to ask you one thing about
Go
the
ahead.
black bank thing, because people are always pushing back whenever we post stuff about banking black. They say, why do y'all want to segregate yourselves from everybody else and things of that nature?
It's so ridiculous, and I think the reality of it is it comes down to the fundamental way in which this country was established, right? This country was built upon systemic oppression and racism. And so at some point you have to say, if we built this country on the backs of folks who did this labor for us for free, that means we set some folks back. And what we're saying is it's not a separation or a separatist agenda. It's just saying it's now time for us to stand up and strengthen these organizations and these institutions that were designed to benefit and strengthen our communities. Not just black folks, but marginalized and disenfranchised communities writ large. We're not saying that you can't take this same knowledge and or agenda and apply it to other disenfranchised communities. We're just saying, let's start with this as a model.
And by the way, anybody can open an account in the bank. It's not like it's just for black people.
No,
we're saying
anybody.
everybody
Right,
bank black.
anybody. Yeah, everybody. Now, what about, did you see
Businesses?
that Harvard did a separate ceremony, graduation ceremony for some of the black students? What did you think about that?
I think it's fantastic. I
It
remember
looked like a great party, by the way.
well, in addition to swagging
Yeah.
and surfing, I actually was a speaker at my black graduation ceremony when I graduated a gazillion years ago from college. And so I think it's not anything new, but because, again, we're in this very divisive era, we're talking about these things like they're brand new. It's a way to celebrate the accomplishments of some folks who are first-generation college grads, thought they weren't gonna barely make it, and they just want to celebrate the culture, doing it for the culture,
That's
Char.
it.
And I think that it's great.
Right.
You know, it's a way to honor our
I didn't
achievement.
understand why people were upset about it, because it was still the graduation ceremony, but they just had their
Yeah.
own separate celebration in addition to that.
That's right.
And
this is-
Because y'all Negroes ain't special. That's what they want to say to them.
well,
We
it's
got a
this-
lot of people on the line, guys.
Okay.
I don't wanna
Jesus
lose them.
Christ. Gosh.
Hello, who's this?
Yes, good morning. This is Bashan Mann. How are you?
How you doing, sir? We have Angela
Okay,
Rye in the
boys.
building. You got a question for
Rashawn
him?
Man.
Rashawn
Yes.
Man.
Oh,
ahead.
you sound like you do the Quiet Storm. on
Don't troll
weekends.
him. Don't troll him.
Brother.
Hey, listen, first of all, thanks for what y'all do. I'm definitely a fan. Angela,
sound
thank
like
you for
Quiet
your
Storm.
voice. Just wanted to perhaps know if you could shed some light, maybe expound for us why Democrats may not want to push an impeachment agenda.
Yes. So we
Thank you, brother.
We were just talking about this a little bit. I think Democrats may not want to push an impeachment agenda because they think it would be a distraction from some of the other issues that coincide with what Trump is doing, including, you know, whether or not the economic agenda is really one that would be as helpful for the middle class or for the white working class that he was trying so hard to go after during the 2016 campaign. I think the other thing is Trump Care. We didn't really talk about health care that much today, but their health care plan is a disaster. And they're saying, Democrats, you should focus on the policy agenda rather than Russiagate. I actually disagree with this. I think that there's enough there. There's certainly more there than there was with the Benghazi issue with Hillary Clinton. If we saw them win an election on the back of Hillary Clinton and Benghazi when there wasn't anything really there, why would we not try to go and recruit and unite the party from what's happening with Russia? We are not all the way united on some of those other issues. And I think the more moderate Democrats aren't necessarily on board with a progressive, more Bernie type of agenda.
I like how you doubled down on there just now, too. You said there. There.
Yeah, there's no there.
There.
Hello?
There's
Is
no
anybody there on the phone?
Hello?
Yeah, but now you say distraction.
Hello? What's your name?
Malik Stevens.
What kind of laugh was that? What's your
That was
name?
the worst. Shady laugh.
What's your name, bro?
Malik Stevens.
Hey, Malik. What's your question for Angela Rye?
It's not really a question. It's more of a comment. You guys are always talking about banking blacks. I'm a financial advising intern with Northwestern Mutual, 19 years old, and I need some people to financial advise blacks.
And what?
So
Yeah,
you
what?
want to, instead of just banking black, you want financial advised black.
Yes, exactly.
So no shade, but you don't work for a black institution, but I'm glad that you are a black financial advisor.
I'm
That's
just trying to
great.
put my foot in the door so I can knock down it for my brothers and sisters.
Yeah, okay.
True.
Okay, so anyway, yeah.
He don't really have a question.
No,
huh?
he definitely just got a free commercial on the Breakfast Club.
We don't know where
That's
to
cool.
find
We
him, though.
need more black financial advisors.
Yeah, but I think, let me just say this, though. One of the things that I actually resent, I'm not saying you're doing this, Malik, but one of the things that I actually resent are in our comments regularly, there are black financial advisors or black economists that work at large organizations or institutions that are constantly bashing that agenda instead of talking about how to strengthen it. So, yeah, we should be using, I have a black financial advisor who has his own company. We absolutely should be working, buying black, giving black, banking black. But let's not tear down the agenda because of whatever, distract from what it is. But you definitely work at a white institution. I'm not saying you can't use the dude, but I'm just, let's be real about what that is.
Hello, who's
A
this?
commercial.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Wait, I can hear you. What's your name, bro?
Hey, my name's Wale.
Wale.
Wale, I like
All right,
you.
That
Wale.
was dope, Wale.
Hi, I'm Nigerian, it's a common name, so I'm not the rapper.
Okay, now what's your question for Angela?
I want to know if you really think this Russian investigation is going to find any wrongdoing on Trump. Because we've seen this before with the whole Benghazi. They spent X amount of $1 million and seven different committees all found nothing on Hillary. So can we really expect something against Trump?
So you think it's fake news and a distraction?
No, I think it's real, but I just think it's going to be enough to even get him impeached, even get him prosecuted or anything like that. Trump specifically, though, not his associates, because I think they're dirty, but him specifically, can we expect anything to incriminate him?
So I think it's important to note, right, that this is a process, and there are multiple layers of this process. You saw the firing of the FBI director shortly after he asked for additional resources to investigate Trump's dealings with Russia. And it could be that it's just his associates, but who wants a president with associates like those? At least it will cause the public to doubt him a little bit more. I think the reality of the situation is we don't know yet. And I don't think that we should continue to compare Hillary Clinton and Benghazi to Donald Trump and Russia. I think they're very different. You're talking about a president, or now a president, then candidate, who literally got on the stage at a press conference and asked Russia to find the additional emails, the additional Hillary emails. So I think they're very different, and I think it's time out for the false equivalence.
How do you think James Comey feels now?
Man. I mean, I think the reality of it is he was uncomfortable, period. There were a lot of reports about folks who are close to him who said they didn't like how Trump tried to kind of bring him in for a hug in the Oval at the White House shortly before they fired him. I think that he feels like he did the right thing and he can stand on his integrity. I don't agree with everything he did.
Like with Hillary Clinton?
No, not at all. Or
Right.
even him going out and saying that an investigation was over before he knew it really was, to try to get in front of Russian intelligence that he knew was false instead of just calling it false.
Right.
So he didn't do everything right, but I think he feels probably like.
And then found out he got fired on the news while the news was on.
Yeah, that's awful.
Now,
What does it mean for the director of communications to quit?
Oh, that's another good point. So here's another little thing for the rumor report maybe tomorrow. I think that it's really interesting that this communications director resigned on May 18th. And no story broke about it until Tuesday, May 30th.
Right.
Which says, right, this is the White House that can't hold water for 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So my little
There
theory
was no tweet
is,
about it or nothing.
my theory is this guy was the leak. Because if the story was held until after Donald Trump got back from his foreign trip, which is when he said this resignation would be official, it wasn't in a paper until May 30th. That's 12 days. They haven't been able to hold water like that. So I think it may not have been a resignation. He may have been terminated.
So he was the leak for everything that's going on?
I don't know, but that's my theory. That's all I got right now is a
That's
theory.
the Angela Rye
That's the Angela Rye theory. But
Okay.
can you imagine, like, when have we heard them holding anything for 12 days?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of fascinating.
Now, how does it look when your president is
My
trying to hold
president?
his wife's hand, and on two separate occasions
is that my president?
she slaps his hand
She
away?
is the leader of a
I
tribe
have
called Curve.
You can't. You should try to throw shade.
Yeah,
You
keep
can't.
trying to-
You messed it up.
She's the leader of a tribe called Curve.
How does that look? Does that look like anything to the nation?
So
or is it
first,
just
let me correct
gossip?
the record. I have not had a president since January 20th. That
Okay.
was Barack
Not
Obama
true.
left. I have not had a president.
You are an American.
Whatever.
That is your president.
Whatever. That's not my president. Is he your president? You about to get trolled. You about to get
Unfortunately,
trolled. You're about to get
That
trolled.
is his president.
Technically,
Not my president. That could be y'all's president.
But go ahead.
Now when I say y'all's president, it's y'all. It is amazing, and I just want to say to Melania that she might have just really became a little black girl from the South Side of Chicago for that. You know how she tried to do steal the speech. Remember?
Yeah,
she tried
she
to steal the
did.
speech.
Absolutely.
So that was a shout out to her trying to be a little
Michelle would definitely not hold Donald Trump's hand.
black. But she would hug George Bush. She hugged George Bush tight.
She did.
She did.
Yes.
Now, Melania seems like she cannot stand Donald Trump.
I mean, she's costing us a lot of money to not be near him, so that must be true.
Do you feel bad for her at all?
I don't. There's a video, actually, I would encourage you all to view it, of her during the 2012 campaign where she is coming after Barack Obama for not releasing his long-form birth certificate. He can barely get through the sentence in plain, good English. No offense to anybody where English is your second language, but when you trolling somebody about a birth certificate, we like, girl, we don't know if you all the way here legal,
That's
you might
real.
really want to chill out.
Right.
So I don't feel sorry for her at all.
Right.
That made me feel not sorry for her. I'm
It's
sure
her karma.
Yeah. I'm going to show it to you.
You knew that
It's
man
bad.
who he was when you married him?
Now, you always retweeting people saying you racist.
I do not retweet people that say that I'm racist.
do,
I
you do.
respond.
read that off the sheet.
You respond.
Yeah.
It's still a retweet.
That was like a Breitbart story just now, Char. Really? Like, what are you
You always
doing?
do
This?
retweeting.
But it is still a retweet, even when you reply and comment.
So what do you say to people?
Ain't no retweet. That's a response.
Yeah, same thing. But do
You always respond to
What?
people. You call people dickhead. Can I say that?
Yes.
Okay. I say
Can
it
you,
now.
Miss CNN? Can you?
I'm not Miss CNN. I'm a contracted commentator for CNN. Do not call me Miss CNN.
Why do you do that though?
Because I think it's important to debunk fake news.
Gotcha.
There you go.
Alternative facts. I'm not a racist.
Are you really
It's
going
ridiculous.
over to Fox News?
No, girl.
No, I'm kidding.
That rumor report need to be shut down.
Are we good here with her, please?
I
today?
think so. Have we
You gotta come a
everything?
bit more. We was confused last week, but we glad you came up this week.
You were on
were you
vacation. Shut
confused
up.
about?
You weren't even here, Envy. What were we confused
It was
about?
the week before last.
I ain't gonna lie. When I seen on the sheet she was coming last week and I wasn't gonna be here, I was like, who's gonna ask the impeachment question? Because that's all I want to know. How far are we
We ask
away?
every time.
Yeah,
So
like
we got everything. We covered everything
I think
we need to
so.
know. We're up to date.
And you'll be
think
at the town hall, right? Also, isn't there a town hall that
Oh,
Roland
on
runs?
the National
the
Urban
TV
League.
one,
Yep.
yeah, State of Black America. We talk about banking black, among other things.
See, I got to make sure you promote what you're doing. Now,
Thank you.
There we go.
Teamwork.
When is this
For the
airing?
sisterhood. It airs
Wednesday at
today.
Today at 8.
Today
Tonight at 8.
Tonight at 8.
Tonight at 8.
Yes.
Yes, on TV One. And again, it's a good town hall to talk about our issues because we do feel like we're thoroughly distracted with Donald Trump and all his as the world turns type drama. So it's important for us to hunker down and figure out what we need to do to survive and thrive in this country.
And we'll be at BET Genius Talks too.
Yeah, genius.
Saturday, June 24th. Right. You have a panel with Pusha
This might be
T.
the first time Charlamagne's ever gone to the BET Awards, right?
It's not the awards, but
It's at the
is.
awards.
It's
weekend. It is.
BET.
We have
It's
the awards
not the
weekend.
No,
awards.
it's not the
Don't
awards.
throw
That's not the
shade.
Come
in
on
it.
now,
but it's
stop
not
it.
the awards.
But
It's-
you're going
it.
to go and participate in
going-
the BET experience.
and I'm going to interview Ava DuVernay and Issa Rae and
Yes.
Tracy Ellis Ross
all that
and
black
New
girl
Edition.
magic and New Edition.
Yes.
And you get to tell them which one you thought was the cutest in
Michael
your book.
Bivins knows that.
Okay.
Because he's the cutest?
Yeah. He
All
thought
right.
he was
It's a long
Now you gotta
story.
answer.
Charlamagne
No,
thought he
read
could
the
play
book,
Michael
read the book.
Bivins at one point.
I did. Before there was ever talk of a New Edition movie, I wanted to play Michael Bivins. I'm talking about this goes back decades.
But when
And
you,
he, along
you
with
was
his
gonna
female
play him
family
how? Can you
members,
do a Michael
thought that
Bivins?
Michael
voice?
Bivins
He
was the
thought Michael
cutest.
Bivins was the cutest, and then his pop slapped fire out of his
No,
mouth.
that's not what
Who
happened.
you think was the cutest, Angela?
Out of New Edition?
when
Back
you
in
were
the day,
young.
Ralph Tresvant.
That was the ladies, yeah, Ralph Tresvant.
And Charlamagne, you thought Michael Bivins?
Angela had a thing for Gumbies.
What?
You used to like Gumbies? Didn't Ralph have a Gumby?
No, that was Bobby
Oh, that was
Brown.
Bobby.
Bobby
You
had
and
the
your-
Gumby.
You got vacation brain or something. You
My
off.
goodness.
I'm taking one next month.
You need to, because you telling all kind of lies.
All right, it's the Breakfast Club, Miss Angela Rye.
The Breakfast Club. Every weekday morning. Tune in